Hey everybody, this is Inscryption. This is a spoiler-filled lore puzzle video. I'm going to have a bunch of stuff in here. So if you have not played the game, this will spoil some of the neater things that happen in Act 1, but they're kind of important to know as you go along. What I'm showing here first, before we get too far into it, is the very first death card that I got. I got really lucky. I used a pelt for the cost. I used a wolf for the power and health, and I'm just kind of debating over here which sigil to use, whether or not it lives through a sacrifice or it is a fledgling sigil, which means it will grow up and gain 1 attack power and I think maybe 1 health. Maybe not the health, but I know the attack power definitely goes up after the first turn, and then you label it. Again, this is the first death card. I didn't put the trophy in here for getting the death card. I guess I could have done that, but it's not necessary. But I did want to show that because that card you're going to see later in this video, it ends up being a really useful card. So if you have the opportunity, before you know you're gonna lose and die, try to get a card like a pelt or a Gek if you can get your hands on it, and use that for the cost if it is available for you. Again, it's randomly generated throughout your whatever cards you have when you lose, which you're going to be able to pick from. But hopefully you can make that work and you can get a nice attack or power and health number, as well as a decent sigil. Because no cost, 3 attack and 2 health with a fledgling sigil, that's really good. And I end up actually adding to it and getting some other things. So this is just starting out on the second attempt of Act 1. There's a lot of stuff you cannot do until you've lost at least once. When this started here, I believe it's probably just happened right before I started recording this commentary here. Your opponent, we won't go into their name yet, mentioned about bones, because we have the possum card there. They explain that currency, and that's not unlocked until your second run, until your second try, I should say, and among other things. So the other thing is, in the first run that I did, I got up and I put the combination in to the safe, which we're going to take a look at in a minute, and I found out that you can't get the card in the first run. So the safe is already open, but we're going to go over and take a look at the rule book, which is going to show where you find the combination. Okay, open up the rule book. Right there it is, 273. And then you open up the safe, and in the second run or any time after, you will get the Stinkbug and a key, and you'll get the trophy for Innocuous, whatever it's called, whatever this trophy is that we just got. There you have the key, and that key goes to the other side of the room. Here's the oil painting. We'll be talking about that in a little bit. That has nothing to do with moving the story along, but you can get 3 items that are very useful when you solve that puzzle. So this tile puzzle here, it's basically just like the card game that you've been playing this whole time. You line up the cards so that you can attack with 5 power in one hand or in one turn, and that gives you the skink card. Skink is kind of nice. You put the card down, and then when it's about to get attacked, it moves out of the way and it leaves a tail there, so you cover more ground. And some of these I'm going to show you starting to figure out, and then we're going to take a look at the actual solution. Here's the solution. We will come back and take a look at that in just a second when we're done here. And from the second cabinet, that is the top right cabinet, you get the worker ant and the ant queen. Ant queen card's nice. You put that down, you get another worker ant card in your hand. The worker ant is great if you have multiple worker ants. You put them down, and each card that you have down each ant that you have down at the same time gives the other ones more power. So if you have 3 ant cards down, you attack with 3 on each of those ants. The bottom left tile puzzle gives you the caged wolf, and that is actually why we're doing this puzzle. We need that for the next bit of our little lore progressive puzzles here. That is the answer to the bottom left puzzle. Going a little too fast here, but hopefully you've been able to keep up. You can go back and pause the video to see the solutions. Basically, these different sigils do different things, and this puzzle is trying to teach you how to figure out these sigils. Like this, I forget how it's pronounced, by force or something like that. The arrows that go left and right. This is the final cabinet, and it gives you a squirrel head that is going to be extremely useful later on. So that is a totem head, and the totems you can get from the woodcarver. The woodcarver, again, doesn't show up on your map until at least run 3, possibly run 4. I don't think I saw her until at least my 4th run. We'll see her later, but she's an NPC that you can meet. You can have an event with on your map as you play the game. But there is the solution for the squirrel. And there is the caged wolf in the middle there. And if you notice, I just tapped the candle on the right. You keep snuffing out those candles, and that smoke is going to build into that bowl. There is extra teeth you can take from that skull. I did all of this very fast. I apologize. I'm going through this very quickly. And that's the oil painting again. And this is the clock. I set the clock to 5 seconds to midnight, and I got a ring. And you can do that at any point, and that ring will help you in the final boss fight. But that oil painting showed a wolf and a squirrel. The wolf was in slot 2, the squirrel was in slot 3. And here is what happens when you put those down. Now, unfortunately, I started the video a little too late. There was a little bit of a screen shake when I put that squirrel down. The camera will shake, and your opponent will say, "What was that?" And you will have to go on and complete the hand. You don't want to die and have to start this all over again. But here we still have both candles, so we're in good shape. So once this hand is over and we return to the map, we can get up again. And I didn't get up. I should have gotten up. Oh well. So we are going to have a chance to actually select our death card. So that again, it is a power of 3, it is a health of 2, and it has a fledgling sigil that has no cost. So we're getting up, and we're going over to the oil painting, which originally showed us the wolf and squirrel setup, and inside of it now is a clover. And so we're going to have that clover from now on. Every single game we play, this is one of those roguelite elements. We're going to be able to re-roll when we do card events, when you get 3 cards, or the 2 card events where you have 3 in front of you, either pick one of the cards or pick the amount of sacrifice, 2, 3, 1 sacrifice, or bone, as I'm going to show you right here. I wanted a 3 sacrifice, so I went ahead and re-rolled and got the same thing. So there you go. You can only re-roll once each time you use it. So unfortunately, it doesn't always work out for you, but at least it's a little extra help along the way. Not necessary for progressing onto Act 2. Not part of the lore. So I just wanted to quickly show this. So there is my death card. It already has an extra attack and health. I must have used it at the fire. And I also got a can't die sigil. I can't remember what it's called. But because of that, I can keep sacrificing it for a 1 sacrifice card, and then it goes back in my deck and I can keep reusing it. That's how powerful some of these cards can get. You have the right attack numbers, you got the right health numbers, you got the right sigils, the right cost. Everything can work so that you can use that over and over and over again to help you along. We're going to work on our last bit of lore here in, I think this is now our third run. No, it's not. I'm sorry. This is still the second run, because we're going to get the next thing we need to do, which is the caged wolf. You need to play the caged wolf, and you need to actually let it die. Let it get attacked. It's got 6 health, so let that health go down as you're playing. Use it as a defensive card. And you'll see here in just a minute what happens when you let that die. Again, Imogene definitely helping us out. Our Deathcard here. You can get double sacrifice, use the Rat King, then put Imogene back down. But we don't want to win before we get the caged wolf freed. There's Uncage the Menagerie. Our caged wolf is now free. And then we're going to go ahead and finish this this battle here. So the battle's over. We've stood up. Now, as you can see from that view right there, that caged wolf is already out of its cage. We're going to pick it up, and we're going to move over here to where the squirrel and the knife are, and set that in place. Freeing the knife, the special dagger. And that is going to be an item that you can use in your card battles. Picking up some more teeth. Those teeth basically accumulate as you fight against some of the bosses and other things. You can go there and just collect extra teeth. Teeth are always nice to have to buy pelts and buy a couple other things. So the knife is now, as you can see it right there on the right of the screen, it's sitting there. So the way the knife works, if you're familiar with the pliers, you can pull your teeth out, and you can do that. You have an unlimited amount of teeth, so you don't have to worry about, pulling out teeth until you can't pull out anymore. But the pliers can only be used once every single time you get them in your backpack. The knife removes a different item from your body, and it weighs a lot more than a tooth does, which is just one kind of point on the scale. I want to say it's about 4, maybe 4 or 5. The other thing that just happened was our opponent just told us that he is giving us a fishhook, and we got that fishhook because we beat the angler, which is the second boss that you fight in Act 1. Once you beat the angler, you get his fishhook, and you're going to want that for a trophy. I think it's Role Reversal, I think is what the trophy's called. Now, once you're in your third run, you're going to start hearing about tribes. So there are 5 tribes, but really 4 that you're going to really make use out of for most of the game. The 5th tribe is the squirrel, because the squirrel, as we already have the totem head, and this is the wood carver. So the other 4 tribes are birds, wolves, hooved animals, and reptiles. So any snakes, any frogs, anything like that will be in that category. Any kind of birds, obviously, in the bird category. And hooved is a little bit more far-reaching than you might expect. There's definitely some useful things. And insects are Some of the best cards are the insect cards, and if you get a good sigil with that, then you can be set up. But I've totally glazed over the fact that we just got a Squirrel Totem, and now every time we put a squirrel card down, it is imbued with a sigil where that can be sacrificed for 3 blood, or 2 blood, or 1 blood. And that is so useful, because now we can play practically any card that we're going to have in our hand. There's a few that require a 4 sacrifice, a 4 blood sacrifice, but they are really rare and really powerful cards. But you could always make that work as well. Later on, you're going to see a different sigil for the squirrel. That's going to be a defensive, an offensive sigil that's going to allow the squirrel to actually attack. And you want to use that for a different trophy, but we'll talk about that in a different video. So I just used the special dagger, and it's pretty obvious what that just did, where we used it, and what that does when you use it. Again, this is the 3rd run. I did this in the 2nd run. As soon as I got the dagger, I used it, and what you need for the next trophy, you cannot get until the 3rd run. You can go ahead and do it in the 2nd run, and there's one other special, well, I'll say it. There's one other special eye that you can pick in the little chest that you're going to see in a minute here, and it's just more just for laughs. It doesn't really give you any benefit to the game. It just makes a particular card look kind of funny if you pick it. That one in the middle there is the other special eye, but here, top left, that's the magical eye. That's the one you want. And now you can see the various little magical painted items and messages. And it told you to look at the cuckoo clock, and right here the cuckoo clock is telling you exactly what to do. Now, this was all laid out by one of our friends that are cards. Here is the stunted wolf. He's missing an eye. His fur looks a little weird, and he tells you to grab the film. And so with that film, you are now set up to move on to Act 2. That's all you really need to do. You finish all the bosses and you get to the very end of the act, and you use that film roll, and you will be able to move on to Act 2. Now, we just finally got all the smoke collected, and we got the smoke card or greater smoke card. I can't remember exactly which. I think if you already have the card, then from then on you get greater smoke cards when you go against the bosses. That's another just little extra thing you can have there. Smoke card's kind of nice. It doesn't attack. Greater smoke attacks with 1 power. The oil painting is now a beehive and a squirrel, and we will see that come up soon. And now we have the invincible or resurrection. I can't remember exactly what the sigil is called, but basically every time that card or the squirrel dies, it will go back in your hand every time it's sacrificed or anything like that. And this is the beginning of the Prospector fight. I just wanted to show, as each boss fight, they put out one of your candle lights and they give you a smoke card if you still have one of those candles lit. So now we get greater smoke cards, and again, as I mentioned, 1 power, 1 health. So another useful tool to have along the way. We're going to let some of this Prospector boss fight play out, but I will be probably featuring the boss fights in different videos. I'm not sure if I need to necessarily make videos for every boss fight, but there are definitely certain techniques. Oh, it's 1 power, 3 health. Sorry about that. That's incorrect. I think the Greater Smoke is 0 power and 1 health. Maybe that's where I was getting that. But either way, they got the Bone Lord sigil, Bone King, Bone Lord, where you get 4 bones when they are taken out. But still, it's nice to have it for a little bit extra attacking in your fight against the boss. As you can see, we have the fishhook here. We have the special dagger. We have the Squirrel Totem with the Undying or Resurrection sigil, whatever that's called. We have a pack rat because we had a full pack and we went and visited that event. We have an alpha, which costs 4 bones. Alphas power up all other cards by 1, which is nice. But bones aren't always readily available. Sometimes when you get these bone cards, you can't really spend the bones. And if you notice, we took out the mule there. That's basically the first round strategy. You want to take out the mule because you're going to get a whole mess of other cards that you can have in your hand and you can use. And we're going to continue with the fight here. We're putting down the Rattler. Again, we're doing pretty well with bones for this run, but sometimes those bone cards, they're just a little too hard to accumulate enough bones to get. If you notice the Stunted Wolf, the Stinkbug, the Stout, they're kind of changing how they look a little bit. That's part of the story. And here we've beaten the Prospector. We've gotten our second candle lit again. We get to choose a rare card. There's the Gek. There's the other one that you could use for your Deathcard. But we're going to pick another pack rat. I think I was planning on visiting the Mycologist in this run, but the Mycologist never showed up. I never ran into it, I think is what I was trying to say. It never ran away because it never showed up. So here we are on the 3rd map, I believe, or at least the 3rd environment. Oh no, 2nd environment, because we just beat the Prospector. Here's our cards. Here's what we have, and we're going to be moving on from that and showing you the 2nd oil painting puzzle being solved. The 3rd puzzle for the oil paintings I never got a chance to complete in this run, and I'll just explain what that is. So basically, you're going to see the 2nd oil painting get solved here in just a second, and that's going to be a 3rd candlestick added. So now you can lose twice to your opponent before you are in any real trouble. I'm re-rolling here, and luckily I get a beehive, which is what I need. I believe it's beehive on the left slot, like number 1, and I think maybe squirrel next to it in slot number 2. I think that's what it is. Let's take a look. Right. Okay, cool. So we're going to get that to happen. But if I was able to capture the 3rd one after we get this candlestick here, you would have seen me unlock the 3rd oil painting, and that would be the bee. It's an actual bee that's in the painting. You pick it up, and then from then on, you will have bees instead of squirrels that you can draw. And bees are useful because they have 1 power and 1 health. They are insects, so they can do anything the insect totem does. So if you have an insect totem and you have some kind of like special attack, like double attack, or the Skull and Bones sigil, which is like Touch of Death, I think is what it's called, then every time you draw one of your no-cost cards, it will do that. So kind of a useful thing, but in the end, so there's a B. In the end, I never got the chance to unlock that, but I did just unlock the beehive and the squirrel, so we're going to see the 3rd candlestick in just a minute here. We gave the Alpha Sigil to the Stunted Wolf, who is looking a little different each time we see them. And I think I cut most of the fight out. It must have taken me a while. Also notice those squirrels, how that Squirrel Totem is giving them such a useful tool. So that means every time we sacrifice them, they go back in our hand, and we never have to draw a squirrel again. There's the scissors, very useful for cutting up any one card of your opponent's. Now that we've unlocked the oil painting, number 2, we're going to back up and go and pick it up. And there's the second of 3 items that you can unlock by solving those oil paintings. Again, it's not really a puzzle. It tells you what to do. And there you have 3 candlesticks. So now we can lose twice and not have to restart all over again. And I believe that when in boss battle, they put both those candles out, you get 2 greater smoke cards. I think that's how that works. So that was a lot of the lore puzzles. And with all this information, hopefully you can get to Act 2 and enjoy the rest of Inscryption. I hope this helped. Take care.